Hello, we're doing school. Something don't call it doing with you. No, it's not good. Like, there's make sure it's like it's acting up. That's how I can already. Hope tech for real. That's how I can already. Okay, I'm gonna just. I may not be able to see your chat as quickly because it takes a second to load. Not like it's topical. This guy really having 9,000 points. Time for the Valley, California. Wait, who's the West? I think it's this, Totally didn't know that. Pretty sure like they're yeah.
Parts of the West are good for raising certain types of fruit. Which natural resource is most commonly found in the West?
There's a lot of delay. What about that? Apples.
If it's 9 o'clock Pacific time, what time is it in the Mountain Time Zone?
I really don't know. I don't think I know. I totally don't know. Actually, kind of think. Ow. What? I guess I could. I'm not that smart. Oh, this is not my only class, obviously. I have one more. Also, I still have that background. Still have the background. 17 and 999. Oh, laggy is just. Look how laggy this is pretty. Okay, it's not that laggy. Hmm. Hmm. That's me right now. I actually knew that. This is my first. Well, West Coast. This is my first lecture in like a while. I will get a face cam soon, but just don't count on it. Count on me getting a face cam soon. I think it's a large city. Hmm. I really wonder. Totally don't think it's right there. I think it's the Illinois River. No, I think it's Missouri. Nah, it's that. Going off and stupid. Restarting that. Nice. Oh, my freaking arm is so sore. Dang, bro, I can't even stretch my arm out, bro. That's That sounds like something. That looks like. That really looks like. You know. How do I keep this like here? Options. Actions. What if I can make it a mod? I'll have to do that in YouTube settings. I'll do that later. I don't know if it says something to the email. Oh, wait. Ah! Frick! My arm! My arm! This, I already knew that. Hmm. 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 I think it's fabrics now. I think it's furniture. Maybe furniture. I'm totally gonna press furniture. Oof, I'm not going to do that. Jeez. Hmm. I think it's Florida. I'm totally pressing Florida right now. One is on Switcher. Yeah, it's my Roblox player. I have a lot of stuff in there. Yeah, probably because you got your what is it called? Your thumb. How's your thumb, by the way? Oh my gosh, bro, this stupid. I'm gonna punch my arm and it's gonna hurt so much. Yeah. Let's be cute. Okay. You did not see nothing. You did not see nothing. I have lots. Fine. No, how is it? That's such big backpack move. Time for science. That's my sister right there. That's me. That's my sister. She was evil back then. See, this is my sister. This is me. We're making any faces. Oh, I have 30. Yeah, I totally got 37 times. That's totally don't see that. Thanks. I'll put that ball right next to me.
I know what you're thinking. Miss Rogers made another mess. Yeah, but I spilled some water, but this cloth is just pushing the water around. It's not soaking it up and absorbing it like I want to. Sure would be easier to clean this if I had a better cloth. Oh, there we go.
Maybe we just don't have blood from transplant. So I have anything to keep that fine. But I get off and I can stay. Perfect.
Whew. You know, rags hold water. They can absorb it, and you could squeeze it out or dry it out, and the water would evaporate eventually. But what about in soil?
On my test.
Water is part of
Dang,
soil.
that sucks.
So can different kinds of soil hold water or different amounts of water? That's the investigation we're going to test today. It's called water retention. Retention means to be able to hold it in. So can it hold onto the water or does it let it go? So let's think about the size of the particles in soil. We have sand, the big particles, silt, the medium-sized particle, and clay, the tiny particles. And if you think about if you needed space to get through something, like a crowd of people, if it was really, really tightly jam-packed, it would be hard to get through. That's like the clay soil. The silt is a little bit more spread out, so if it was crowded but you could move, it'd be okay. And then sand, because it's so big, it has more space between the particles, and it's a lot easier to move. There's more space. So what does that have to do with sand or silt or clay kinds of soil? We're going to test that by pouring water into the soils and see how much comes through the other end. Now, this is an important thing, especially for plants that depend on the water that's in the soil to live. Plants can only survive if they have the right amount of soil. So let's go ahead and set up our investigation. Plants can only survive if they have the right amount of soil. So let's go ahead and set up our investigation. I started by taping 2 different cups to each other. I wanted to hold it up high so that I could have the different kinds of soils up top and give it space to have water run through. We're going to be using these coffee filters. You can think of a coffee filter as kind of like a sieve. The holes are so tiny that it's only going to allow the water to get through, and it will keep the sand and soil and silty clay up on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my coffee filters to the cups and tape them in so they're secure.
Kitchen.
Now, when I'm doing an investigation, I only want to change one thing at a time, and that's going to be my different soil samples. So I'm going to measure using this cup 2 cupfuls of soil into each of my little makeshift funnels with these sieves, and then I'm going to measure 100 milliliters of water to pour through each sample, and then we'll wait and see how much water goes through each one of the samples.
We gotta start playing on our main account.
All right, now we're going to wait until all of this water seeps through, and we'll see till all of this water seeps through, and we'll see which one held in and retained the most water. All right, it's been about 30 minutes, and we've had lots of time to let the water drain through the soil. So now we're going to turn to our journals, and we're going to write down our results. Our first cup had potting soil, our second cup had the sandy soil, and our third cup had that clay kind of soil, the really dark black one. We put 100 milliliters into each cup. Now we're going to measure the amount of water that came out the bottom using this graduated cylinder. So let's take off the tops.
I don't know why I did.
A scientist is always observing. And as I pull these off, it's interesting to notice that the sandy soil still has a puddle of water up at the top. It's very interesting to me. And when I look at the cups below, they look different. The water that came out the bottom was clear almost in this first one, the potting soil, and then these 2 were more cloudy. If I think about that filter as a sieve, remember that it will let some particles through. They're just so tiny. And what are my smallest particles in soil? Clay. So that shows me that both of these soil samples did have some clay in them. All right, let's measure the water and see how much water came out.
I'm not buying your clothes, but I only have one.
The potting soil had 62 milliliters come out. Let's write that down.
Guys,
Now
can I
let's
have
try the
100,000
sandy soil.
gold? Give me infinite gold.
That one had
Anyone
78
give me 100
milliliters come
Robux,
out.
please.
Write that down in your journal.
Anyone play
And
my
last,
flag?
our
Can I
dark
play build a boat?
clay soil.
Hashtags. Hi.
That
I
one
play
had
flag.
74 milliliters of
Jacob.
water. Go
Hi,
ahead and write that
Creative
down.
Arrows.
Now,
Here's
if
my-
we're looking
What?
at soil
This is the fakest
retention,
group ever. This is fake group.
well, the
You
water
all
that
suck.
went into the cup was not held. It was not
I'm
retained.
from the
So we want to know
strongest
how much is
battlegrounds
still in the
proof I can-
soil. To find out how much
Hi.
water was retained by the
Hi.
soil, you have to subtract
I
the two
think
numbers.
I
So let's
have
do a little bit of
downbuilders
math. For the
called
potting
Hard
soil, we'll do 100
tank
minus 62 milliliters.
Hashtag.
That's 38
I agree with
milliliters
that message right
retained
here.
by the potting soil.
Hashtag.
Now we'll try the
Hi,
subtraction
broken
of the sandy soil.
find me.
We'll do 100 minus
Nice.
78
Studios
milliliters. That's
it actually
22
build a boat for
milliliters retained
Hi,
by the
guys.
sandy soil.
Hashtag.
And last, let's look at this black
Hey.
clay soil.
Hey, everyone.
100 minus 74 milliliters. 26 milliliters
can we have-
retained. So
Can we
what does
have-
that tell
Oh,
you
I'm
about this
stupid.
investigation?
I-
Well,
Robux
it told
for
me that
and
soil
for-
sample 1, the top
Oh,
soil,
my brother.
retained
He's my
the
brother.
most water. Now remember,
Oh,
this
he's
is
on
the
my
one
boba.
that is manufactured by people
live.
specifically
What?
for
I
plants.
don't even
So
remember.
that makes me think they purposely want this soil to be able to
Hi, can I
retain
get
water for
15
plants to
Robux on
use.
Axolotl? I don't
The
get it.
sandy soil
No.
was
I
able
want
to
1
retain the
million
least
money.
amount of
This
water.
is a fish oil.
Remember, sand has those big
probably got
holes
banned
between
too.
it because the particles are so
Hi.
big. So it allows the water to
Hashtag
escape more quickly.
Honestly,
And then the clay soil
my name is
was the one that held
Ohio.
not the most,
Six.
not the least, but in the middle. Clay particles
God.
are very tight
I love
together.
you.
But remember that this
Who's
soil is
the
not
one?
just clay. It's other things as well.
Hashtag.
Now, real scientists
We still
want
play Squid
reliable
Game.
results.
Hey.
So, in order to have the most reliable results, I would do this investigation at least 2 more times. Thank you for investigating water retention in
gold.
soil with me today.
I need gold.
Remember to find that
Built a
retention of
boat.
the water in the soil.
Please,
You
I
have
like
to
the game, but I
subtract the
need
amount
gold.
that goes in
Please,
from
I
the
need
amount
iron
that
power.
comes out.
Uh,
Glad you were with me today.
Hashtag. Dude, anyone have spare 75 Robux? Please. I need 2,000. Can I have 20 Robux, please? Done. It's like, oh, question, explain? I don't know what that is. Check mark, I think. And I have 6 Robux. I really nailed it. Nice correction. Hello, everyone. I'm JL. Nice to meet you guys. Don't fall. Oh my, this is just pathetic. Why do people fall for this? Like, this is so fake. It's a limited time. Hashtag approved by Roblox. It does not say I'm a member. And am I the only one that does not have Roblox? This game is so great. Guys, could you 3, 2, A. No one posting in a few days. Yo. Hashtag Q. Poop emoji. I have kinda sick. I don't know how to say that. I would do that emoji too, but I can just do this emoji. Alright. There we go. Sit. Oh, well, this guy. When is this guy's account made? 2023. Okay. Let's go now. Potting soil. I'll find this soil. which soil is the most likely to break through it? I think it's the potting soil. I think it's the sandy soil. I think it's the I think it's the sandy soil. Can I ping a comic? I'm watching. I'll go on to the official list. I think it's the potting, so I'm gonna click on the clay soil though. Dang it, it was magnetic.
If I say, I saw a man who was 12 feet tall, did I really see a man who was 12 feet tall? No, I'm exaggerating. I just meant I saw a person who was very tall. So, or if I said, I
I'll get to that.
have been waiting
How do I actually gonna group it? Group.
for 100 years. I haven't really been waiting for 100 years. I've just been waiting for a long time. Both of those sayings are an example of a hyperbole. A hyperbole is an exaggeration, and we don't really expect the people who we're talking to believe it. But it's important for us to know what hyperboles are and how we can understand what they're trying to say. So if you've ever heard of the story Paul Bunyan, that's a tall tale with loads of hyperbole or exaggerations. It's about a man who's a giant. Obviously, we don't really believe he's a giant. It's a hyperbole or an exaggeration that we don't really expect people to believe. But what's important about hyperboles is that we know what they're trying to say. So let's look at an example. What does the hyperbole, she has a million pairs of shoes, mean? Does that mean she has many shoes? She has a million pairs of shoes, or she does not have any shoes. Thinking about it, she has a million pairs of shoes. Hyperboles are not meant to be taken literally. They're not true facts. They're exaggerating to make a point. So, saying she has a million pairs of shoes, that's not the case, because literally she does not have a million pairs of shoes. She does not have any shoes. That's also not what it's saying. It's saying that she has many different shoes. So when you come across these exaggerations or hyperboles while you're reading, be thinking about what the exaggeration is trying to say to you.
Script. The script tells actors what to say in the thrill. The roller coaster gave us a thrill. Split. We will split the candy evenly between us. Split. Thrill. The roller coaster gave us a thrill on the big split. We will split the candy evenly between us. Split.
When summarize, we take a lot of information and put it into little details. So when we're summarizing, we only want to include the most important things. So let's look at this picture. If I were to read a book, I wouldn't be rewriting that whole book. I'd be picking out the main details or the most important things and just writing those, or summarizing, making them smaller. So let's practice summarizing my morning. And I want you to think, is this a good summary? So I got up this morning, I brushed my teeth, I went and ate breakfast, but then I went back to my room, and I had to clean my room because I hate when my room gets messy. If it gets messy, it just looks junky, and then it just doesn't look good, and I feel weird the rest of the day. Let's pause right there. Was that a good summary? Did you really need to know all that extra information about me cleaning my room when we were talking about what I did that morning? Let's try that again. The first thing I did when I woke up was brush my teeth. I then got dressed for the day. I went downstairs, I ate my breakfast, and then I made sure to clean my room before leaving the house. That's a much better summary, and it only includes main details, and that's the most important thing. So I want us to look at a video, and then we're going to practice picking out the most important details and writing our own summary. So take a look. After watching our video, I want to go through a summary that I wrote describing all the things that we saw. And I want you to pay attention to a few key details as we go through. So let's read it. First, we saw a bright sunny day at the ocean. Next, we saw leaves falling from a tree. After that, snow was melting from a branch. Then, there were raindrops hitting a pond. Finally, there was a sunny hillside near a waterfall. So as we went through that summary, I want you to notice a few things. First, I used transitional words. So I said first, next, after that, then, and finally. Those words guided us through, and there was a sequence. Sequence is important, because if I said what happened last first, that wouldn't be true, and that would not be a good summary. So we need to make sure we go through with the sequence, and we use transitional words as we go through. Also, notice I didn't include many other details besides just the setting of what we saw. I didn't include that the leaves were, colorful. I didn't include specific little details because when we're summarizing, we don't want those details. We only want main ideas.
Anyway, that is all my stuff done. Goodbye. Enjoy your day/night. Yes. Anyway, goodbye.